Have you ever wondered how one decision could change your life forever? For Zainab, a quiet and focused young lady from the serene north, her life at a prestigious university in bustling Lagos was about to take a turn she never expected. Zainab, a 20-year-old from a modest, devout family in northern Nigeria, had earned a scholarship to one of Lagos' most prestigious private universities. Her parents had sacrificed everything for her education, believing it would secure her future. In her new environment, Zainab was paired with Amelia, a confident and lively girl from the East. Amelia and her best friend Paige were campus celebrities. Known for their extravagant lifestyles, they wore designer outfits, drove flashy cars that were lent to them by their wealthy Lagos friends, and attended the most exclusive parties. Zainab, however, was an opposite of both girls. While Amelia and Paige spent weekends at private beach houses, Zainab spent hers buried in textbooks. She believed in her family's values, staying disciplined and focused. But the allure of her roommates' stories and the occasional glimpses of luxury, leftover pastries, perfumes, and even a designer scarf that Amelia gifted her, sometimes tugged at her curiosity. "You should come with us one day," Amelia teased after returning with a pair of Gucci sunglasses. "What's life if you don't enjoy it?" "I'm fine," Zainab would reply, smiling politely, although deep down, she sometimes wondered what it was like to live so freely. One cozy evening, while Zainab and Amelia were in their room, Amelia was reading through her textbooks while Zainab was sitting on her bed, reading a novel, when Amelia's phone buzzed. She answered the call, her face lighting up as soon as she heard the voice on the other end. It was Paige. "Chief just called," Paige said excitedly. "He wants 3 girls tonight, and I want us to go. He's promised to give each person 1 million naira for the night." Amelia's eyes sparkled with excitement, but she hesitated for a moment. "Do you think Zainab would be interested?" "Try convincing her," Paige urged. "She doesn't even have to do much, just look pretty and act polite." Amelia ended the call and turned to Zainab, who was already watching her with a mix of curiosity and caution. "Zainab, tonight is the night," Amelia began, her voice dripping with persuasion. "Chief is a big deal in Lagos. He's generous, connected, and he's offering 1 million naira each for just a few hours of our time. Imagine what you could do with that money. Send some to your parents, buy yourself something nice, change your life." Zainab blinked, unsure of what to say. The offer sounded too good to be true, and something about it felt off. "What exactly does he want us to do?" she asked cautiously. "Nothing crazy," Amelia replied quickly. "Just keep him company at his private suite. Smile, laugh at his jokes, enjoy the luxury for a few hours. That's it. All that for just 1 million naira?" Zainab asked, her mind racing. She thought of her parents back home, struggling to make ends meet. 1 million naira could change so much for them. But then she thought of her values, her upbringing, and the nagging feeling in her gut. "I don't know Amelia," Zainab finally said. Amelia rolled her eyes and laughed. "Zainab, stop overthinking everything. Look, Chief's driver will be here soon. Just get dressed. Even if you decide you don't want to go in the end, you'll at least see what it's like to be part of something exciting for once." Before Zainab could respond, Amelia was already pulling out her wardrobe, tossing a sleek blue dress onto Zainab's bed. "Try this on, it'll look amazing on you. Loosen up, girl. Life is to be enjoyed," she said to Zainab. Zainab stared at the dress, her heart pounding. She was standing at a crossroads, torn between the temptation of easy money and the weight of her conscience. As Amelia dressed up and perfected her makeup, Zainab realized that this night could change everything, one way or another. Within an hour, Paige arrived at their room, looking absolutely glamorous. Her long, silky hair cascaded down her back, and her makeup was flawless, with bold red lips and shimmering eyeshadow. She wore a glittering short gown that hugged her curves, paired with sky-high stiletto heels that clicked sharply against the floor. "Ladies, are we ready?" she asked, her excitement palpable. Amelia stepped forward, equally stunning, her silver mini dress catching the light. She twirled playfully and said, "What do you think? $1 million looks for ₦1 million night, right?" Zainab, on the other hand, was dressed more modestly in a simple black gown Amelia had insisted she borrow. Her makeup was subtle, just enough to enhance her natural beauty. Her heart was racing, unsure of what she was getting into. As the girls finished their final touches, they heard a car horn outside the gate. "It's Chief's driver," Paige exclaimed, practically bouncing on her heels. "Let's go, girls." The three of them hurried outside, where a sleek black SUV was parked, its tinted windows gleaming under the dim streetlights. The driver, a stern-faced man in his 40s, stepped out and opened the back door for them. "Good evening, ladies," he said with a slight bow, his expression unreadable. Paige climbed in first, followed by Amelia. Zainab hesitated for a moment, her legs feeling like lead. But with Paige's voice urging her, "Come on, Zainab. Don't be shy," she reluctantly slid into the car. The air inside the SUV was filled with the faint scent of expensive cologne and leather. Zainab couldn't shake the knot in her stomach as the driver pulled away, merging into the bustling Lagos nightlife. Amelia and Paige chattered excitedly, imagining the luxuries that awaited them: five-star meals, champagne, and perhaps gifts from Chief himself. But Zainab remained quiet, her mind racing. She stared out of the window, watching the neon lights of Lagos blur past. Her intuition whispered warnings she couldn't ignore, but it was too late to turn back now. "Relax, Zainab," Amelia said, noticing her unease. "You'll see it is just dinner and some fun. Nothing serious." Zainab tried to smile, but the uneasy feeling only grew stronger as they sped deeper into the city. The SUV's headlights illuminated a grand, sprawling mansion surrounded by high walls and a beautifully landscaped garden. The driveway was lined with blooming flowers, and soft lights cast a warm glow on the pristine white facade. It was the kind of place Zainab had only ever seen in magazines, an image of wealth and power. As the car came to a stop, the driver turned to them with a slight smirk. "Change of plans," he said. "Chief won't be here right away. He wants you all to enjoy yourselves in the house while you wait for him." Amelia and Paige exchanged excited glances, their faces lighting up with anticipation. "Wow, this place is gorgeous," Amelia said as she stepped out of the car, her heels clicking against the tiled driveway. "Let's go inside." Paige chimed in, practically running toward the massive double doors. But Zainab hesitated. A chill ran down her spine as she looked at the mansion. Something about it felt off. It was too quiet, too secluded. Her instincts screamed at her to stay in the car, but she didn't want to seem paranoid in front of the other girls. "Come on, Zainab," Amelia called out, waving her over. "Don't be a buzzkill." Reluctantly, Zainab stepped out of the car and followed them inside. The interior was even more luxurious than the outside. The floors were polished marble, and the walls were adorned with expensive artwork and chandeliers that sparkled like stars. A faint aroma of jasmine filled the air, and soft jazz music played in the background. "Wow, this is incredible," Paige said, spinning around to take it all in. On the grand dining table, a spread of exotic dishes and chilled bottles of champagne awaited them. Amelia popped open a bottle and poured herself a glass, her laughter echoing through the vast space. "Zainab, relax," she said, handing her a glass. "This is what living feels like." But Zainab couldn't relax. She lingered by the door, her eyes darting around the room. She felt like a fish out of water, her discomfort growing with every passing second. "What's wrong?" Paige asked, noticing Zainab's unease. "I don't know," Zainab admitted. "It just feels strange being here without Chief. Why couldn't he just meet us somewhere normal?" Amelia laughed. "Normal? Zainab, this is how the big boys roll. Enjoy it while you can." But Zainab wasn't convinced. She couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. As the girls settled in, the driver reappeared, his face now devoid of the polite smile he had earlier. "Make yourselves comfortable," he said gruffly. "Chief will be here soon." Something about his tone made Zainab's stomach churn. She noticed that he locked the door behind him as he left, the sound of the key turning in the lock echoing ominously. "Did he just lock us in?" Zainab whispered, her voice shaking. "Probably for our safety," Amelia said dismissively, pouring herself another glass of champagne. Zainab wasn't convinced. She began scanning the room for exits, her heart pounding louder with every second. Would Chief's arrival bring the fun Amelia and Paige promised, or something far darker? Hours passed before the sound of a car engine outside announced Chief's arrival. The girls, still buzzing with excitement, rushed to fix their makeup and straighten their dresses as the front door opened. Chief strolled in, a tall, imposing man with an air of authority. He was dressed in white native attire and a red cap on, his every movement exuding power. "Good evening, ladies," he said, his voice deep and commanding. "I hope you're enjoying yourselves." "Very much, Chief," Amelia said, her smile wide and eager. Chief chuckled and clapped his hands, signaling to the staff, who brought out more wine and exotic drinks. After a brief toast, Chief gestured toward the Grand Master suite. "Come with me. Let's continue the fun upstairs in my private suite." The girls followed him, their heels clicking against the marble stairs as they climbed to the luxurious penthouse. Zainab's heart raced with every step, her unease growing. She tried to convince herself she was overreacting, but the knot in her stomach tightened. The suite was as opulent as the rest of the mansion. Plush furniture, gold accents, and a panoramic view of Lagos through floor-to-ceiling windows. A sound system played soft, seductive music as Chief poured more drinks, urging the girls to relax and enjoy themselves. They danced and laughed, the alcohol loosening their inhibitions. Zainab, however, barely touched her drink. She swayed half-heartedly to the music, her mind racing with worry. "Zainab, loosen up," Paige teased, her cheeks flushed from the wine. But before Zainab could respond, Chief's tone shifted. His voice, which had been smooth and playful, suddenly turned cold. "That's enough dancing," he said sharply, his eyes narrowing. The girls froze, Amelia and Paige exchanging confused glances. Chief clapped his hands, and two large bodyguards appeared in the room, their expressions unreadable. "What's going on?" Zainab whispered, panic creeping into her voice. Chief leaned back in his chair, lighting a cigar. "Ladies," he said calmly, "I hope you understand that nothing in this world comes for free." "What do you mean?" Amelia asked, her voice trembling. The bodyguards stepped forward, their presence menacing. "Undress," one of them barked. The room fell silent. Zainab's breath caught in her throat. "Excuse me," Paige stammered, the alcohol-induced haze fading from her voice. "You heard him," Chief said, his tone icy. "Take off your clothes." When the girls hesitated, the bodyguards moved quickly. Before they could react, their hands and feet were tied with thick ropes. Zainab screamed, struggling against the restraints, but the men were too strong. "Let us go," Amelia cried, tears streaming down her face. But Chief only laughed, a chilling sound that echoed through the suite. "You came here for the money, didn't you? Well, now you'll earn it." Zainab's mind raced as she struggled against the ropes. "Please, Chief," she begged, tears rolling down her cheeks. "I don't belong here. I didn't even want to come." Chief's gaze shifted to her, his expression briefly softening. "You don't belong here?" he repeated mockingly. "Then why are you here, little girl? Choices have consequences." Zainab's heart sank as she realized the gravity of her situation. The other girls sobbed quietly, their glamour and confidence stripped away in the face of this terrifying reality. As the girls sat tied up, their screams turned to sobs, but Chief remained unmoved. Slowly, he stood from his chair, sat on the bed, and removed the red cap perched on his head. The room fell silent as the horrifying sight was revealed. A gaping, rotten wound in the center of his head, crawling with live maggots writhing in the decayed flesh. Amelia gasped, her eyes widening in terror. Paige screamed, and Zainab felt bile rise in her throat as she recoiled in disgust. Chief chuckled darkly. "What's the matter, my beauties? You wanted to be in the world of the big boys, didn't you?" He gestured toward his grotesque wound. "Here's your ticket to 1 million each, just a little taste." The bodyguards stepped forward, towering over the terrified girls. "Each of you will lick Chief's head. Do it, and you'll leave here with 1 million naira in cash," one of them commanded. The girls shook their heads violently, crying and begging. "Please, we can't do this. We'll do anything else," Amelia pleaded, her voice breaking. But Chief's laughter only grew colder. "I don't want anything else," he said, his voice dripping with menace. "You lick, or you don't leave here alive. It's that simple." The girls were paralyzed with fear, their sobs filling the room. Chief leaned forward, his gaze sharp and merciless. "I'm losing patience. If you don't cooperate, I'll slit your throats myself." Faced with the threat of passing away, they had no choice. One by one, the girls were forced to lick the festering wound, their faces twisted in horror and shame. Zainab's stomach churned as the stench of decay filled her nose. She closed her eyes, trying to shut out the nightmare, but the memory of the maggots crawling against her tongue would haunt her forever. When it was over, Chief clapped his hands, and the bodyguards untied them. "Well done," he said mockingly. "You've earned your reward." He handed each of them a black duffel bag filled with cash. "Now get dressed and leave," he said, waving them off. The girls staggered out of the mansion, clutching their bags of money. The driver was already waiting by the car, his face as unreadable as ever. They climbed in, their movements slow with pains. As the car pulled away, Zainab felt a sharp cramp in her stomach. She clutched her abdomen, wincing in pain. "Something's wrong," she whispered. "Me too," Amelia groaned, doubling over. Paige clutched her stomach, her face pale and sweaty. The pain grew worse with every passing minute, spreading through their bodies like fire. By the time the driver reached their school hostel gate, the girls could barely sit upright. The car came to a halt, and the driver opened the door. "Get out," he said coldly. They stumbled out of the car, clutching their stomachs and groaning in agony. The driver slammed the door shut and sped off into the night, leaving them collapsed on the ground. The pain was unbearable, and within minutes, the girls succumbed to it, collapsing lifelessly at the gate of the hostel. Their duffel bags of money lay beside them, untouched and tainted by the horror of the night. It wasn't until dawn that students on their way to morning classes found them. The sight sent shockwaves through the campus. 3 glamorous girls passed away in front of the hostel gate, their faces frozen in expressions of terror. The once envied campus queens had become a chilling reminder of the dangers of greed and the dark, hidden world of the so-called big boys. The story spread like wildfire, leaving the school and the city in shock. No one could explain the mysterious deaths or the source of the unimaginable horror they endured. Life is full of choices, and every decision we make has consequences. This story serves as a chilling reminder of the dangers of greed, peer pressure, and chasing quick wealth without considering the risks. Zainab, Amelia, and Paige wanted the glamorous life, but they paid the ultimate price for seeking riches in the wrong place. True success comes from hard work, patience, and staying true to your values. Ask yourself, Is the promise of temporary pleasure worth the risk of losing everything? Let this story inspire you to think twice before making decisions that could cost you your dignity, health, or even your life. If you found this story captivating and thought-provoking, please give this video a thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more intriguing tales and life lessons.